Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, a.k.a. Mazuma TV. Back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great day overall, man. I'm back at y'all with some more boxing talk. Shout out to everybody that's in the building thus far. If y'all could go ahead and hit the like button on the way in, that'll be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We well into the 3,300 mark, looking to hit that 3,400 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation in the mouth for making this possible. We're going to be speaking about Jaime Munguia pulling out of the Armando Resendiz fight and who may possibly be next for Armando Resendiz for that WBA super middleweight title. Will it be Jermall Charlo? We definitely going to assess all of Armando's options. We also going to be speaking about Andy Cruz being thrown into an IBF final title eliminator against Albert Bell, and if that should be Andy Cruz's next move. And then we're going to get into Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson's exhibition being official. But like I said, go ahead, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We definitely in the building. Shout out to everybody that's in here so far. We got 6 people in the building. We need at least 6 likes. I did announce the live late, so I would not be surprised if everybody wasn't notified. You feel me? But we're going to make it do what it do regardless. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's in the comments. My boy SOBTV52, what up? He was on the live earlier today too. I also did a live earlier on. Probably was around like 12 p.m. You know what I mean? If y'all seen it, I seen there was a bunch of people. I think the viewership had gotten up to like 62, 65 people. So shout out to everybody that tuned in. You know what I mean? We had a great conversation. We had a great dialogue going on in the chat as well. I got one of the most knowledgeable comment sections. What is this? I think I bust my lip. Definitely bust. Did I bust my lip? Oh, no. Never mind. Marissa, what's going on? Marissa, good to see you. We were just talking in the DM. How you feeling? King of Brooklyn, what up? Boxer sparring 1215. What up, brother? What up? I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everything's going well with you and yours as always. You feel what I mean? Shout out to everybody that's hitting the likes. Y'all definitely supportive. Y'all definitely in the building. And like I said, we're going to be doing this from now on because, to be honest with you, if you're not subscribed to the channel, why would we care about what your opinion is on this, you know, in the boxing world in general? You feel what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and do that. You know what I mean? We're going to be talking about Jaime Munguia, man. Jaime Munguia is an absolute joke, man. The way this dude's reputation has went down the drain in his last few fights has been absolutely astounding, in my opinion. This dude, you know, been having his hand held his whole career, in my opinion. Let me see. Let's get into that reason. Okay, let's pull this up. Shout out to Dan the Boxer, man. You know what I mean? I know we only 3 minutes in, but we got a lot to talk about, so let's just go ahead and jump into these topics. And I'm going to keep it real. A lot of people don't really give a fuck about Jaime Munguia nowadays. So we just going to go ahead and get to this topic ASAP so we can move on to the more important things. So for those of y'all who've been keeping up the super middleweight division and just boxing in general, we know Armando Resendiz was just elevated to the full status champion after Terrence Crawford officially announced his retirement and vacated all of his belts. Armando Resendiz, I believe, had the regular title or whatever the case is. Who knows what belt it was, the interim, the regular, after defeating Caleb Plant. So he elevated the full champion, you know what I'm saying, per their ruling. So, you know, because of that, you know, now Armando Resendiz has to defend that world title. He has to prove that he is a credible champion in the super middleweight division. So it looked like Jaime Munguia and Armando Resendiz was a fight that was locked in, ready to go. But Jaime Munguia, just doing Jaime Munguia things, has demanded more money than initially agreed upon in negotiations. So he, you know, that fight was off as a result of that. Seems like Jaime Munguia priced himself out. And what really be cooking me, bro, is that you agreed to the amount of money that was initially put out there. All of a sudden, you take it upon yourself to ask for more money when you already agreed to the amount. Now, all of a sudden, you want to come back and demand more money when, in reality, you probably not even worth what the fuck you're demanding, and you're walking away from a title shot as a result of that. This dude, Jaime Munguia, is an absolute joke. You feel what I mean? You would think that these motherfuckers' intentions is to, you know, prove that they the best, become world champions, set out a legacy for themselves in the sport of boxing. But these dudes get in crazy positions to fight for world titles, be a part of big events and stuff like that, and they just find ways to fuck themselves over, man. Like Jaime Munguia really is loving the idea of having his hand held and just being as safe as possible when it comes to this boxing shit, man. You know what I mean? I think Jaime Munguia is a very insecure individual. I think he's somebody who really doesn't believe in himself, hence why, he hasn't really stepped up in competition unless it was a big money fight like Canelo Alvarez, which many people aren't turning down nowadays. So we're not going to give Jaime Munguia that much credit for taking a Canelo Alvarez fight. Everybody in their mom will fight Canelo Alvarez because of the paydays that you will get for fighting him. Not only that, if you were to defeat Canelo Alvarez, you'll be making an absurd amount of money shortly afterwards. So, we're not going to give, like if you took on a Floyd Mayweather fight, do you really deserve much props for that, bro? It's called the Mayweather sweepstakes for a reason. You fight, you get offered a fight. That shit like getting the golden ticket at, the motherfucking Charlie's Chocolate Factory. You know what I mean? You just getting the ultimate opportunity. It's like hitting the lottery. So, besides that, Jaime Munguia has been, being spoon-fed, tailor-made opponents and stuff like that. Y'all thought Bruno Sarase was a fucking tailor-made opponent just to get knocked the fuck out in your home country. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? You trying to make it seem like you macho. You act like you want that smoke with Bruno Sarase. Whole time you go and join Canelo Alvarez's camp and you start fucking with the PEDs. And you can't say I'm lying because you tested positive for them. So I'm not making accusations. This is factual. So you go over to Canelo Alvarez's camp. All of a sudden, you juice to the gills. And you get a unanimous decision win over Bruno Sarase, right? And, you tested positive. You made all these claims, making it seem like you were innocent. Somehow, some way, they didn't reverse your victory against Bruno Sarase. And like I said yesterday, that's absolutely disgusting that they never took it upon themselves to rule that fight a no contest. Bruno Sarase should be an undefeated fighter right now. Same shit I said about Devin Haney in the lead up to the Ryan Garcia, thing. I said they need to wait. They need to turn this to a no contest. This is, insane. Because what you're doing is by allowing a drug cheat to keep a win on his record, that is putting the message out there that even if you test positive for a performance enhancement drug, you will not be penalized record-wise. To be honest with you, I really feel like I don't give a fuck how they win. Like, if you really want to punish drug cheats, man, put a loss on their fucking record, man. Put a loss on their record. Even if they won the fight convincingly, whatever the fuck the case is, they need to be given an L. I feel like they need to be fined 100% of their purse, and they should be given an L. You need to suffer the consequences of being a fucking drug cheat. But nowadays in boxing, it's like it's just a slap on the wrist, and then we just move on. You know what I'm saying? So, Jaime Munguia doesn't believe in himself. I was just giving him a little bit of credit yesterday when they had asked me the question about the fight. I said, that's a war. That's definitely a war. I felt like Armando Resendiz could land the harder, more cleaner punches and could break down Munguia. But Munguia, he's rough. He's an aggressive fighter. He's a combination puncher, high-volume guy in his own right. Maybe he could do some damage. And he's a bigger guy than Armando Resendiz, who I feel like is truly a middleweight. That's just my opinion. So I was giving him a chance, but clearly Jaime doesn't believe in himself. And he already know that, these doping agencies is on his ass right now. So he probably don't want to take that fight unless he juiced to the gills like he was with Bruno Sarase. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I really don't like Jaime Munguia, man. I don't. Because, he shows he got a whole lot of duck in his heart. You know what I mean? There was a lot of people that he avoided fighting on his come up. You feel me? Like you won a world title after beating Saddam Ali, but come on, man. You knew he was too small for you. That was when he was at 154 pounds. Now he's a super middleweight. Plus, the size advantage he had against Saddam Ali, who was really a fucking like a average size welterweight. You feel what I mean? And ever since then, you've been spoon fed. Tailor-made opponents. You know what I mean? Just trying to keep your record on point, and the whole time just to embarrass yourself. You thought Bruno Sarase was easy work. You got knocked out in front of your own people. One punch, too. Not even like some systematic beatdown. Like he just clipped you and stopped you. You see what I'm saying? So Armando Resendiz was there. He was ready to rumble. He was ready to take on that smoke. Jaime Munguia then won it. So now we move on to see what's next for Armando Resendiz. Now, Let me go ahead and pull this up because I think he also posted this. What are Jaime Munguia's options? Now, when you look at the likely options for Armando Resendiz, you got Carlos Adames, who's currently the WBC champion at middleweight. There's a possibility he may move up in weight because not too long ago, I think he was supposed to fight Amo Williams, but he wasn't able to do so. I think he fell ill, and it may have been because of the weight cut that he had experienced. So maybe there's a possibility that Carlos Adames may move up in weight. Him versus Carlos Adames is lit. I love that fight, especially if Carlos Adames brings that aggressive, come forward, upper body movement, slick style, and putting them punches together. Him and Resendiz will be absolutely lit. Erislandy Lara, I really didn't like how he looked in his last fight, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think he showed his age in that fight. And to be honest with you, I would like to see Erislandy Lara retire. Now, it's ultimately up to him and what he wants to do with his career. I could never tell somebody that they should retire. They're going to do what they want at the end of the day. Maybe Erislandy Lara still feels good. Maybe it was just an off performance. But considering he's the oldest active champion in boxing right now, I don't really want to see him in a dangerous fight like this at this point of his career. I actually want to see Erislandy Lara ride off into the sunset. I ain't going to lie to you. I think he's done a whole lot in his career. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's one of the most underrated, underappreciated fighters of this era. You know what I'm saying? And one of the greatest Cuban professional boxers to ever lace him up. That's just how I feel. Caleb Plant. No, absolutely not. We do not want to see a rematch between Armando Resendiz and Caleb Plant. The only way that I'll be accepting of this rematch is if Resendiz doesn't have any more options. If Adames ain't available, you know what I'm saying? If Jermall Charlo isn't available, if Lara's not available, Jaime Munguia just made himself unavailable. So if we got no other choice, then all right, let's give Caleb Plant an opportunity to redeem himself. But I don't really think Caleb Plant deserves it. I don't think he deserves a world title shot coming off of a loss. That's just my opinion. We have to see Caleb Plant get back in the mix. And we have to see the man get more active, man. Like, this dude has been fighting once a year for I don't know how long already. When's this man going to get himself back in the mix? This is things that we have to take into consideration, man. Like, we would like to see these guys get more active. But over on the PBC side, it's like poison. Like it's poison to stay active. Like, it's just like y'all, like motherfuckers at PBC is like anti-activity for some reason. So now we transition on to Jermall Charlo, somebody who has somewhat, has some type of activity. Like he fought Jose Benavidez. He came off of a long layoff, fought Jose Benavidez, then fought Thomas Lamana. Shout out to Cornflake. But those guys were nowhere near Jermall Charlo's pedigree. They're nowhere near his level, respectfully. They're solid fighters, but they're not on Jermall Charlo's level. So it would be dope to see Jermall Charlo get this opportunity against Armando Resendiz, man. And if Jermall Charlo is anything like himself, this is a very dangerous fight for Resendiz. This is a dangerous fight for each other, first of all. But Jermall Charlo, in my opinion, got one of the best jabs in the sport of boxing until this day. He's physically very strong. He has one-punch knockout power. He could hurt you with a jab if he catches you in the right spot. So, and he has pretty good timing. He's a good counter puncher. You know what I'm saying? And he's sturdy. He's responsible with his defense as well. So, the Charlo versus Resendiz might be the most interesting option, in my opinion, in comparison to everybody else that's on this list. Adames, that will be a great fight. I'm not gonna lie, but who's to say that Adames is going up to 68? I haven't heard anything like that. Somebody in the comments could correct me if I'm wrong. Shout out to my boy Lorenzo in the building, Anonymous, Ralph, Agent 86. Shout out to everybody that's showing love to the chat. But I wouldn't mind seeing the Carlos Adames fight, but I don't know. Is he moving up to 68? I don't know what the situation is. Maybe I would take that fight. You know what I'm saying? But Jermall Charlo just seems to be the more interesting fight, in my opinion, because I want to see what Jermall Charlo has left. He came off of this long layoff. He doesn't have the most stacked resume neither now. Like, a lot of the times we be giving Jermall Charlo a lot of credit and shit like that because of how long he's been champion. Not only that, a lot of us is just going off of the eye test. We haven't really seen Jermall Charlo with any elite level opposition. When you look at Jermall Charlo's resume, name somebody elite that's on there, like top tier. He doesn't really have anybody. You feel what I'm saying? So, who's his best name? J-Rock, Austin Trout, Sergey Derevchenko. It's like they solid. They're names that I know, but these ain't no decorated, fighters whatsoever, in my opinion. That's just me. So I would like to see Jermall Charlo take on somebody in Armando Resendiz, who's coming off of the biggest win of his career and is now a world champion. If Jermall Charlo is able to hop up off of hop off of the couch or whatever the case is and able to win a world title off of a game, tough Armando Resendiz, and Armando Resendiz has been knocked out before. He's been beat multiple times. So this isn't far-fetched for Jermall Charlo to do, but I would just find it very impressive if, off of the inactivity and all of the tribulations that he's been facing mentally and stuff like that. Mauricio Suleiman spoke on that a little bit. And, he's still able to perform at an elite level and become a 3-division world champion. That'll be very impressive. I would like to see that. You see what I mean? So, Adames, solid fight. Jermall Charlo, solid fight. Erislandy Lara, not really. Caleb Plant, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We don't want to see that. In comparison to all the other guys, I would take the Caleb Plant fight if there's no other choice, like ultimate last resort. You see what I'm saying? So, let me see. Master G619 says, "What's up, Mazuma TV? What's going on, brother?" He said, "Man, what was that Mexican dude's name that fought on Crawford's undercard? I think he fights in Crawford's camp. Dude is really good. He's not Mexican. I forgot exactly what he is. I think he's, I don't know where, but you're referring to Lester Martinez. I think he's from, is he from Venezuela? Where is Lester Martinez from? No, he's from Guatemala. Yeah, he's Guatemalan. So, yeah, he's not Mexican, but I know exactly who you're talking about. You talking about the one that fought Christian and Billy. He's Guatemalan. All right, shout out to everybody correcting me in the chat. But you have to be talking about Lester Martinez because he does train out of Terrence Crawford's camp, from what I understand. But anyways, those are the likely options for Armando Resendiz, man. Shout out to that motherfucker Jaime Munguia, man. You need to send that motherfucker over to the promised land ASAP.
You got to come down to the promised land, man. 235 acres. We farming our own chickens, homie. Thousands of chickens, thousands. Running around everywhere, quack, quack, quack. Talk about next level shit, homie.
Get Jaime Munguia the fuck out of here, bro. You drug cheat, unconfident, soft ass nigga.
You's a fucking cornball. You's a fucking cornball. You's a fucking cornball.
Talking about you need more money, man.
Shut up, bitch.
Ain't nobody trying to hear none of that shit you talking about, man. And on some real shit, since you so quick to walk away from a world title opportunity, we just gonna go ahead and tell you this. Because on some real shit, I really don't care to see Jaime Munguia in no championship level fights again. So let me have Vince McMahon tell you niggas what I'm thinking.
You're fired.
Get him the fuck up out of here. Yeah, he always on some bullshit. Always on some bullshit, Anonymous. This dude, he don't want to roll the dice. This dude's scared for his life to take some type of chances. I don't know what it is about him, but it's like he like that, when motherfuckers was playing hopscotch on the, when they that double dutch shit with the jump ropes and shit. You see that person, that there's about to jump in, look like they're about to jump into the jump rope whole time they scared to jump in. That's Jaime Munguia. Derek said, "Quack, quack, quack." I pulled up at the right moment. Yeah, we talking about Jaime Munguia, bro. You know what I'm saying? What fucked me up is, like, let's say at the beginning of the negotiations, Jaime was like, "Yo, I ain't offering enough money." You know what I mean? So I'm gonna walk away from this shit. It's like you still on some duck shit, but it's like at least we know that from the very beginning shit wasn't going well because you wasn't fucking with the money. But you agreed to the money. So I don't know how much. We're gonna throw some hypotheticals in there, but let's say they offer Jaime Munguia $700,000. You agreed to it, so because you agreed to it, you can't just go back on that. If you felt like that wasn't enough bread, then you should have made that clear from the very beginning. But it's like because you accepted it, you letting me know that it's not really a money issue with you. Because you know what you were from the very beginning of the negotiations. From the very beginning, you know how much money you're trying to get. You know what I'm saying? So let's say in Jaime Munguia's head, I'm trying to get $1 million. You're gonna shoot a little higher than that, so they can come down a little, come down to that exact amount. If I want $1 million for for Armando Resendiz, I'm gonna ask for 1.5. Fuck around, probably shoot for 2. Let's see where you know what I mean? Let me ask for 2. They're gonna be like, oh, that's absurd. The most we give you is 1. All right, I'll take it because that's what I was looking for in the first place. That's just negotiation tactics 1-on-1, right? But it would be different if, let's say, I asked for $2 million and then they ask me, and then they be like, yo, the highest we can do is $600K, and I'm like, all right, cool. Once I say, all right, cool, that's letting me know that I'm content with the money that you're offering me. So I just can't wake up the next day and just be like, yo, man, I know we agreed. No, I need this now. You're being complicated for one. And you're showing what it's showing is that you're not really a man of your word, because as soon as you agree to the terms and then you back off from the situation, it's like with T.O. and Devin Haney. It is a deeper reason. It's a deeper reason than just money. Munguia don't want them tough fights, bro. Like Ralph said, he always runs from the tough fights. Yeah, he don't want the tough fights, bro. He wants to get fights that he feels like he has the upper hand in. Unless it's a Canelo Alvarez that is just for an absurd amount of money that he can't refuse, Jaime Munguia really doesn't want to take those chances. Jalil Aziz, what's up, brother? I just seen you in the building. Salute. They said Munguia Bato. He certainly be acting like it. But I ain't even gonna say that. I ain't even gonna disrespect my them Batos and shit like that. Cause some Batos have heart. For what I mean, he a turkey. That nigga in Philly, if you pussy, we call you turkey. You know what I mean? Nigga, you get called a turkey burger, all types of shit. That's what Jaime Munguia is. He a straight up turkey. That shit crazy that. Like, and Jaime acting like he above a world title shot. Like, who the fuck is you to turn this shit down? Motherfuckers is craving, like, fiending for this opportunity. And you turning it down when you initially agreed to it? You's a bitch, nigga. You's a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really, you's a bitch, bro. Not gonna lie.
You embarrassed by this?
Fuck you think I am? Boy, you better slap your fucking self.
Yeah, shout out to my real Mexican brothers out there, man, that's really taking chances, really looking to be great and things of that nature, bro. And we all got somebody like this within our race or our ethnicity and shit like that. But there's always gonna be a pussy somewhere, whether you Puerto Rican, Mexican, white, black, whatever. There's always gonna be a pussy that just make y'all look bad. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't think Edgar Berlanga pussy, but he definitely made us look bad with that last performance against Hamza Shiraz. You feel me? Like, we always gonna have people that's gonna make our group look kind of crazy, but it is what it is, man. Fortunately, Mexico does have a lot of courageous fighters. You know what I mean? Shout out to Armando Resendiz. He's one of them. Oscar Duarte about to fight Hitchens this weekend. He rolling the dice. You feel what I'm saying? So, shout out to my fellow Mexicans out there that's really putting in that work. For some reason, Mazuma TV has this stigma that I don't fuck with Mexican fighters. I had people call me on the phone and tell me that, oh, well, you are a bit critical of Mexican fighters. No, I'm not. Because what? Because I was critical of the Mexican fighters that test positive for PEDs. That don't mean that I don't fuck with Mexicans as a whole. It's just me holding them accountable for being drug cheats. Now, if all of those same fighters were black, I would attack them too. Nobody's exempt from the smoke. Male, female, whatever they want to identify as. Nigga, if you want to identify as a motherfucking motherfucking eggplant, whatever the fuck you want to be. If you identify as a zebra, nigga, you're getting this smoke. It's really that fucking simple. But I love my Mexican fighters, man. You know what I'm saying? I got that Mexican blood in my bloodline as well. You know what I mean? I already done told y'all the whole story. Like my six-time great grandfather was from Mexico, moved to Puerto Rico for job opportunities. You know what I mean? He started a family in Puerto Rico, sailed back to Mexico, and died over there. So as far as I'm concerned, one of my great grandfathers was a Mexican man. So I'm real big on showing love to my ancestors, my African ancestors, my indigenous Puerto Rican ancestors, all of them. I mean, I'll be feeling a little way about my Spaniard side, but it is what it is. You feel me? So I got a lot of love for Mexicans, and 2 out of the 3 of my favorite fighters today in boxing are Mexicans. So that's just mind-boggling to me. You feel me? And Subriel Matias was held accountable. That is a fact, Lorenzo. As much as it hurt me to read that news about Subriel, oh yeah, you got to get treated just like everybody else did, and I held him accountable. So it is what it is. Anaj. Am I saying your name right, brother? Man, please let me know. Anaj says Hitchens can redeem himself with the Duarte fight. Well, I don't think there's necessarily anything he needs to redeem himself from. He has, been on some, he has been talking like a duck. You feel what I'm saying? So I guess if that's what you're talking about, I guess so. And, he had a little shaky performance against Lemos, but, he became a world champion since then. He probably grew. He probably learned from that situation. And I'm somebody who's been heavily critical of Richardson Hitchens, but, he's the world champion. He is skilled. You know what I'm saying? He do got a skill set, and I think he has all the tools necessary to, dominate Oscar Duarte. Not only that, I heard Hitchens say that he going for the knockout against Duarte. Now, how does he – I don't think he does it recklessly or aggressively. I think he's going to, pick his shots. You know what I mean? Tom Duarte coming in and hopefully hurting with a shot and look to finishing from there. Now, does he have the power necessary to hurt Duarte? We'll see. We've seen him get knocked out before, but that was against somebody who could actually crack like Ryan Garcia. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Duarte a tough motherfucker, bro, and that's not somebody who's just going to, be quick to run out the door. Like you're going to have to beat that fight up out of him. Is Hitchens going to take those chances to get that done? We'll see. Now, and I was saying, if Oscar Duarte and Robert Garcia formulate a game plan where they're neutralizing Hitchens' jab, what is Hitchens going to fall back on? I think that's why that's a real interesting fight. Okay. Naj says, I'm talking about the style with the Lemos fight. Okay, cool. Duarte is better, so for me, it will redeem him if he does good and wins. I mean, listen, I agree with you, brother. You know what I mean? I guess it won't necessarily change my opinion about him being hesitant and with possibly fighting pressure fighters. Like we've seen him be hesitant with Subriel, we've seen him be hesitant with Gary Antoine Russell. You know what I'm saying? Gary Antoine Russell still talking crazy on Hitchens' name. He was talking about when I seen a little old clip that surfaced of Gary Antoine talking about the sparring session he had with Shakur, and he was talking about everybody that was there. He mentioned Hitchens, and he was like, Hitchens ain't want to spar. Like, he ain't want to spar. Like, in his head, he feels like Hitchens is turkey. That's just the reality of the situation. But that's just what Gary Antoine thinks of him. I've been critical of him, and I've called him similar things, if not worse things. It is what it is. But him beating Duarte will let me – it's the way that he defeats Duarte. If he does it like – if it's like an ugly fight or like he just looks defenseless at certain points or he just seems flustered, uncomfortable, I'm going to still have some question marks around Richardson Hitchens' name. But if he dominates Richardson Hitchens – if he dominates Oscar Duarte – I'm sorry if I misplaced the names. If he dominates Oscar Duarte, makes him look silly, outboxes him, puts on a beautiful clinic, or maybe even hurts him, stops Duarte, that's going to be more of a statement than the Kambosos win, in my opinion. Yeah, Robert Garcia, one of the best coaches in the sport, if not the best, right now. So, looking forward to seeing that. So, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. Andy Cruz, who just came off of a decision loss against Raymond Mortaya not too long ago, is being given another opportunity. So for those of y'all who don't know, and I don't know if Andy Cruz is going to take this just yet, from what I understand, it's still in the works or whatever the case is. But Dan the Boxing Man with another post, man. Shout out to him for carrying the boxing news today. He's been sharing a lot of things that I find to be interesting. And it is that the IBF has sent letters to Andy Cruz and Albert Bell to see their availability for an IBF final eliminator fight. Lucas Body turned down the IBF Eliminator with Albert Bell to go after the WBA title instead. Now, I've seen some people being critical of Lucas Body for that, but just put yourself in Lucas Body's shoes just a little bit. We're just going to go over this briefly. IBF final title eliminator, vacant WBA world title. Which one you going for? Now, let's take into consideration that there's most likely more money associated with the vacant title than, with a final title eliminator with the IBF. I think it's I don't think it's a debate at all in which direction what's the smarter choice, a vacant world title or a final eliminator to possibly fight for a world title, and who knows how long that's going to take to fight for it. The vacant title all day, man. The vacant title all day. It's not even like a debate for me. So it is what it is. That's not me necessarily defending Lucas Body, but come on now. How could we be critical of him considering his options? But anyways, looks like the IBF is interested in Andy Cruz fighting Albert Bell. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I've been hearing Albert Bell name for a while. He's somebody who's been under the radar. But I see a lot of people put respect on Albert Bell's name. So let me go ahead. And I actually watched a couple fights from him. But let me go ahead and just watch some quick clips of him so I can get a refresher on who he is as a fighter. So he definitely looks sharp. You know what I mean? Look like he got some good timing. That's a fact. I just seen him knock some dude out. Let me see. Let's look at his fight with. Let's take a look at Albert Bell right here. Definitely looks tall, looks rangy. Let me see. I'm just taking a look at him. Look like he got some decent hand speed. Look like he keeps his range pretty well. I see him pulling straight back a little bit. But looks like a calculated fighter from what I understand. Pretty sturdy jab. Good balance. Look like he got a solid foundation in terms of like his positioning. Ooh. Definitely knows how to punch. He knows when to punch, especially when his opponents are off balance. Looks solid. Definitely looks solid. Looked like he got a bit of aggressiveness to him too, which I didn't really expect considering his knockout ratio. But that looks like a solid fight. It looks like a solid fight. You know what I'm saying? Now, the question around all of this is Andy Cruz going to take this opportunity? Is Eddie Hearn going to be approving of this opportunity? Because, of course, when a contract's signed, you also need to get a promoter signature. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. You can't really get a fight going without pretty much your promoter's consent. And usually the promoter will gravitate towards whatever the fighter wants. And I'm sure Eddie Hearn believes in Andy Cruz. I genuinely believe he does. They may have rushed his world title shot just a little bit, but Andy Cruz at the same time, he had to get his feet wet eventually because, this dude, he's not the youngest. You know what I'm saying? He's in his late 20s, just like myself. And, he's had a shit ton of amateur experience. So it's like you either got it or you don't at this point. And, he took the chance. I think he got a bit outworked by Raymond Mordecai, but there are some people who feel like he won. So it wasn't necessarily, a loss is a loss at the end of the day, but it wasn't the worst loss, that you could pick up in your career. You know what I mean? It was a close one with a little bit more experience. Maybe Andy Cruz would have pulled it off. But I feel like he's learned a lot from that situation. And I feel like whenever he bounces back, he's going to look a lot better. I think you're going to see a more seasoned version of Andy Cruz. I think he's going to be more well aware of what he needs to do in order to, exist at the top level. But just because he's going to come back better off of this win doesn't mean that Eddie Hearn is going to throw him straight into the fire. Eddie Hearn may be a bit hesitant. Maybe he wants to get Andy Cruz back on the winning column. before he throws him into another, big fight or whatever the case is. Because let's say Eddie Hearn does take this fight for Andy Cruz with Albert Bell. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, that Albert Bell beats Andy Cruz. Now you have to deal with a fighter that you thought at one point in time was a prodigy, a fighter at one point in time that you thought undoubtedly be a world champion. Now he's coming off of back-to-back L's. Do you really want to take that chance and fuck up all that money that you invested in him so far? Or are you going to, settle down a little bit, get him some fights, with some guys who will give him a few rounds and then possibly throw him into another big opportunity? I don't know. I don't know what Eddie Hearn is going to do. I think it's really going to be, and I'm sure Andy Cruz will take the opportunity if Eddie Hearn is approving of it. I think what's going to determine the outcome of whether this fight happens or not is what Eddie Hearn's mindset is in this situation. Does he want to say fuck it and roll the dice on Andy Cruz to see if he comes out victorious against Albert Bell, who's an undefeated fighter who looks confident, looks sharp, looks responsible defensively? You know what I'm saying? Is that somebody that, Albert Bell don't look like anybody to play with. So it depends on his belief in Andy Cruz and whether he's daring enough to take this shot coming off of a loss from Andy Cruz. Very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how the way this unfolds. Does Andy Cruz take this opportunity? Is Eddie Hearn approving of this opportunity? We'll see. I know Albert Bell is definitely going to take that opportunity because I think Albert Bell has struggled in the past with trying to get notable names in front of him in the ring. And shout out to the IBF for giving him an opportunity because I didn't hear about any other sanctioning bodies ordering him to fight anybody for a final title eliminator or nothing like that. So shout out to Albert Bell. You know what I mean? ETC said Eddie mentioned Padley as a possibility. That's a good fight as well, but that doesn't really get Andy Cruz to the ultimate goal. I don't think him beating Josh Padley is going to make him a mandatory for any sanctioning body or anything like that. Solid win, and I think he's fully capable of being Josh Padley. I think Andy Cruz is fully capable of doing that. But is that going to solidify him as the mandatory in any sanctioning body? Is that going to get him a world title fight next? No. The Albert Bell one, if he were to defeat Albert Bell, he'll become Raymond Mordecai's mandatory, and they'll have to run back the rematch. Just like Karen Chukazan did with Jaron Ennis when he was the IBF title holder at welterweight. So which move does Eddie Hearn want to gamble on more? He said if he's fighting Padley, then he's definitely going to 30. Well, maybe that's something that Eddie Hearn and Andy are considering. Maybe them fighting big-ass Raymond Mordecai, they're like, you know what, man, we might have to look at 130 because these dudes just seem to be a little bit too big for Andy Cruz. Skills pay the bills in a lot of scenarios, but if you're in there with a significantly bigger guy that has skills in his own right, you might be in for some trouble. And maybe that was a wake-up call for Andy Cruz, and I'm like, you know what, let's get down to 130 and see how we feel over there. That way these guys will be more likely around the same size as me, things of that nature. So, we'll see. We'll see. The Josh Padley fight, that's a solid one. That's a solid one. That's a winnable fight. But we going to see what Andy Cruz and his team and what his team actually thinks about him? Because if they accept this IBF final title eliminator, that's going to let me know that they motivated, they believe in themselves, and they feel like this is a winnable fight for Andy. If they don't take it, that's going to let us know that, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't believe in Andy Cruz, but they're not willing to take that chance at this time because their main objective is to become world champion, but not, possibly face back-to-back losses. Maybe they want a safer bet coming back, into the game to get a win. So, or maybe they realize, we got to get a couple more fights before, get through some more rounds and build up more experience before we get back to that title shot. So maybe that's what they're thinking. But we won't really have a definitive answer until Andy Cruz responds to these letters that the IBF sent out to his teams, to his team. So we'll see. We'll see. Let me see. Bell fights on shitty apps. I seen him. He did like some overtime boxing not too long ago. ETC says common opponent with Shakur get you back in the winners column, and Andy already ranked high everywhere. One win and he back. Yeah, that's probably, that's a great point, ETC. That's probably exactly what they thinking. Like, look, man, we ranked in multiple sanctioning bodies. We ranked high in these sanctioning bodies. So I guess it will, that gives us some leeway to go ahead and take a stay busy fight, or at least a winnable fight. Cause I think Josh Padley isn't necessarily like a like a warm-up fight or anything like that. I think Josh Padley could present some fits. Not saying that Andy Cruz can't get past him. I think he beats Josh Padley, but Josh Padley ain't really like a slouch. He not like no layup. You feel me? So maybe that's what they thinking. Like, let's go ahead and fight Josh Padley, like you said. Common opponent in Shakur Stevenson. Let's say he stops Josh Padley earlier than Shakur did. Maybe that'll get the people buzzing, get the people talking. You know what I mean? Andy Cruz's name might get back to the boxing fans' good graces. You feel me? So there's a few different ways they could go about it. It's going to be interesting to see what they choose. Alda Powell said Bell better off on Pro Box or Zuffa. He would be seen more. I think Zuffa will be the perfect situation for Albert Bell, because I think what Albert Bell needs is activity, first of all. And I also think that he needs recognition. I think he needs to get the people familiar with his name. And I think that Zuffa, with how active they plan on being, I think that they could make, Albert Bell a recognizable name, not a household name, but a recognizable name, in the sport of boxing. And, once he's able to attach his name to different fighters that, are known amongst the people, you know what I'm saying, are popular names, then, Josh Bell's stock, I said Josh Bell, holy shit. Albert Bell's stock could continue to climb. I think Zuffa would be a great move for Albert Bell. I ain't gonna lie. I would like to see Demetrius Andre. Anybody who's inactive and is having trouble, like getting like staying busy, I would like to see Demetrius Andre go to Zuffa. Why not? What the fuck do you got to lose? Everywhere you sign, they always having trouble getting you together and getting you in big opportunities. Bro, you can't get none of these champions to fight you. Go ahead, sign with Zuffa. Go fight for that Zuffa belt. Why not? What other option is there for Demetrius Andre? Eddie Hearn literally stopped working with Andre because he said, man, I can't get him the fights that he wants. He was rocking with PBC and them. I don't know what's going on. I don't even think they got any more money left for him. He lost to David Benavidez. Shit been quiet since then. You training, you claiming that you coming back. Coming back where, though? Where are you going? Bell 33 years, so there's a sense of urgency, man. Like, something got to get done, man. You got 28 fights. You're undefeated. You're still doing well. It ain't like you took any punishment. You may last for another 5-6 years, but you need to be working. You need to be working, man. Simple. Resendiz versus Andre will be a great fight at super middleweight. I agree, man. And I think that's a winnable fight for Andre. If Andre is himself, you know what I mean? Like if he, if he's boxing, he's punching in combinations, he's turning Resendiz, I think he could beat him. The inactivity might fuck him over. But Andre, when he's being like, when he's giving you that awkward look, you know what I'm saying? The fast hands, and he got some sneaky power too. It ain't like Resendiz chin can't get cracked. We seen him get hurt before. But shout out to the boy Junior in the building. He says, salute Mazuma. And again, congrats on the podcast. It's fire. I appreciate that very much. What I want to do is I want to come up with a name for the podcast, because Mazuma TV is the channel. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to call it the Mazuma TV podcast. I think that's a bit repetitive. This is Mazuma TV. This is the Mazuma TV podcast. The Mazuma TV. I would like to come up with a different name. So if anybody has any ideas, man, let me know. ETC said, Andre will have to get back down to 160. Zuffa goes from 160 to 175. I completely forgot about that. They are limited with the weight classes. But I don't know, man. Like when I watched Demetrius Andrade on that scale against David Benavidez, like I could show y'all, man. Like he ain't no real super middleweight. He really not. Like I think he went up there because he couldn't really get any opportunities. To be honest, like look at how the way his physique looked. Look at all that water he had in his system. You could barely see his abs. Look at this picture right here, y'all. He not no real super middleweight. It did not take him much to get down to that weight. I'm gonna keep it real. Like whenever I see this is a motherfucker who was comfortable as hell the whole lead up to the fight. Look at that. Look at the abdominal area. Benavidez's abs look more defined than Andrade's. Now you can see Andrade's abs, but it's not anything where it's like, oh, he really sacrificed to make the weight. He looked comfortable as shit. Look, got love handles and all. Yeah, he can make that weight. Shit. The Pivot podcast, I was thinking about that, but nah. Because there's already like a don't these football players got something called the Pivot podcast or something like that? The pivot, whatever. I don't even know why they call themselves pivot. Y'all football players, bro. Only niggas I know that use the pivot is boxers and motherfucking basketball players. It's like the fuck. Crazy Bell, 33, 6 foot, and still making 130, 135. Well, some people just don't ever really get that heavy in weight, man. Some people genetically are just small like that. And there's people that can stick at a weight class their whole life because their body doesn't grow dramatically. Like Nonito Donaire still fighting in those small ass weight classes, and he in his 40s, from what I understand. So, yeah, man. But I definitely, based off of these pictures right here, I don't see why Andrade can't make 160. That's just me. Andrade said himself he gained too much weight. He gained too much for the fight. He had a wrong game plan. Yeah, and I remember when he was talking about his fight with Damon Nicholson, he was saying how much bigger Damon was and how the punching power felt different. That lets you know. That's like every indicator that he don't belong at the weight. Like the size difference is that much, that much. If there's that much of a difference in power and size and shit like that, it's probably because you don't belong there. Yeah, Andre really a 160, absolutely. So now we spoke about the Andy Cruz, we spoke about Jaime Munguia, and who Armando Resendiz next opponent may be. Now we gonna talk about this one is like it's crazy to me, but we gonna talk about it just for the hell of it. You know what I mean? Then of course we're gonna get into the open boxing topics. Let me pull this up, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. Bro, this is either like this gotta be like money issues, bro. Like I can't help but think no other way. I'm not pocket watching. I really don't give a fuck about nobody's financial situation except my own. But goddamn, bro. If y'all haven't been hearing, man, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, at first it was, people were just talking about it, but it looks like they got things finalized. And this is very much real. Something that I did not put on my, what they call the bingo card for 2026. Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson are going to be throwing hands at each other as if they anywhere near each other in weight. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Bleacher Report, shout out to them. They put together this article right here. It says Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. exhibition fight date, location reportedly revealed. So it says Mike Coppinger of Ring Magazine reported Monday that Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather Jr. are tentatively scheduled to face each other in an exhibition on April 25th in the Congo. So they're actually bringing this fight out to Africa. Very, very interesting. There is no doubt that Tyson and Mayweather are two of the most notable and accomplished boxers in the sport's history. I don't know about Mike, but Floyd definitely. And a fight between them in their respective primes would have been one of the biggest events ever to take place in boxing. Not really, because in their primes, one was a fucking welterweight between 130 to 147, and then the other one was a fucking bona fide heavyweight. So what do you mean a fight between them in their respective primes would have been one of the biggest events to ever take place in a boxing ring? There would be no event because they wouldn't be fighting each other. Why are you acting like they in the same weight? Jesus Christ, this got to be a casual. I don't even want to continue reading anymore because, like, come on, bro. So, it is what it is. Mike Tyson, for some reason, he's really big on these exhibitions. I heard he made a nice little check against Jake Paul or whatever the case is. But we have seen that Mike Tyson has had some financial issues in the past. And, more recently, we've seen Floyd Mayweather is having some issues as well. There was like a whole write-up on him lying about buying real estate in New York, allegedly, and, him being sued by jewelers and, all types of stuff like, buildings that he has, owing a lot of money, him taking out loans and all types of shit. So Floyd Mayweather doesn't seem to be this money man that he's claiming to be. And right now he's suing Showtime because apparently $300+ million of his was going into channels that he had no access to. And he doesn't even know where that money is right now. And he's saying that Showtime allowed Al Heyman to do that. So, yeah, bro. Yeah, Anonymous, like, bro, what are we talking about? Anonymous said, Mark, funny as hell. He said, this must be a casual. He knew dude didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. Bro, how could you type something out? Like, if you truly know boxing, what would ever make you say, man, if Floyd and Tyson fought in their primes, that's, respectively in their primes, that would have been one of the biggest fights in history. Nigga, no, it wouldn't have been, because it would have never been realistic. That would have never happened. What are you talking about? And their primes, And their primes, Floyd Mayweather's prime, in my opinion, was from 130 to 140. 147, still phenomenal. Still couldn't be beat. But like when Floyd was really snapping, it was 30, 35, 40. What are you talking about? Tyson and Floyd in their primes would have been a hell of a fight. Bro, Mike was fighting. Nigga ain't never get lower than cruiserweight. He couldn't get down there. What are you talking about? Come on, bro. Like, who the fuck wrote that for you? Did AI write that shit for y'all niggas? Because a lot of the time, one thing AI don't, this is how you know boxing, like, it's really tough to be, like, knowledgeable in. Bro, I be having debates with ChatGPT and they don't be knowing what the fuck they talking about. I'm like, bro, we be debating, like, resumes and shit. My girl in the building, what's up? Like, we be having debates and shit. And be like, yo, who you think, who got the better resume, this person and that person? They be like, oh, well, this person right here beat 2 gold medalists. No, he didn't. He beat 4. Oh, you know what? You're actually right. Like, these niggas just be talking, bro. Like, who the fuck? Oh, my God. I be frying ChatGPT in debates, bro. All the time. All the time. Mike Tyson was 80 pounds bigger than that nigga. Facts. Imagine the weight difference they gonna have when they step on the scale for their exhibition. And it's like, the way Mike Tyson looked in his last exhibition with Jake Paul, Like, who the fuck wants to see him fight again? Like, who wants to see that? Bro, that whole aura around Mike Tyson, that shit's gone, bro. Oh, man, he's the baddest man on the planet, man. Mike still got it. Look at his eyes, nigga. Bro, that's an old man, nigga. That's an old man. I tried to tell y'all in the lead up to the Jake Paul fight, that is an old man. He ain't got it no more, bro. I knew Jake Paul was going to toy with him. You know why? Because Mike is about 60 fucking years old. When they were supposed to fight initially, it got postponed. This nigga was catching stomach ulcers. Go look up how you get stomach ulcers when your body's under like an enormous amount of stress. This nigga Mike Tyson was pushing his body to limits that it can't go to anymore. And that's why he had like inflammation and all. Like his body can't handle that rigorous training anymore. They showing Mike Tyson hitting the pads and like, oh my God. Bro, you could be 80 years old. No, I'm not going to say 80. That's a bit excessive. But let's say your prime was in your early 20s because everybody prime's different. Let's say your prime was in your early 20s. Bro, you could be 45 years old and still look the way that you looked in your early 20s by hitting the pads. Pads are choreographed. So if you got if you got technique, you're always going to look sharp on the pads. But you peep, they ain't show Mike Tyson doing those sparring sessions because from what I heard, he was getting beat. He admitted it. He said he was getting his ass whooped in sparring by young niggas. Okay, so imagine what the fuck Jake Paul, Floyd Mayweather, you know, he old too, but Floyd gonna fuck Mike up. Yo, man, all Mike got to do is catch Floyd with one. Bro, y'all been saying that shit about Floyd his whole career. All he needs to do is catch him with one lucky shot. Bro, Mike old ass not hitting no Floyd. Floyd gonna fuck Mike up, bro. Watch. He gonna whoop him. And he not, I guarantee you Floyd not gonna hold back. I guarantee you he ain't gonna hold back. And the more rounds, the better. Floyd gonna be pull countering Mike. He gonna be jabbing the shit out of him. Watch, I'm telling you. Mike gonna get beat up. Mike gonna be biting his glove and shit while Floyd popping him in his fucking mouth. Like, that's good, bro. That shit's gonna be embarrassing, bro. Like, look what y'all niggas doing. Y'all both in total probably made over $2 billion altogether. Both of y'all combined probably made $2 billion. And here y'all go fighting each other in the fucking Congo because y'all can't keep up with y'all bills. Crazy. They probably fighting each other in the Congo, so they ain't got to pay no taxes over here. Y'all niggas laughing. I'm dead serious. Mike Tyson, it's just a habit that I have. It's just a habit. I just can't. I just need to bite my glove. I don't really know what it is, but Floyd just so fast, and every time I swing, he was just not there. He wasn't there. I try to hit him with my big punches. I try to throw my hook, the uppercuts, and it just wasn't working. Floyd is very slippery in there. Floyd. I don't know what it is. I try to be a warrior of all warriors. I try to be a warrior. And, I just couldn't keep up with Floyd. Floyd. I tried to hit him with all these uppercuts, and I just couldn't hit him with the punches. And Floyd just hit me with everything he had. I just can't take it anymore. I'm not a warrior. I thought I was a warrior. I thought I was a god of war. I'm not a war. I'm not a warrior anymore. I just have to give it up. Yeah, like that Mike Tyson gonna be embarrassing himself. He gonna be showing. They're gonna be in that. He gonna be in the Congo. They're gonna be interviewing him. His ass gonna be out again. Like, don't nobody want to see that shit. Don't nobody want to see that shit. Floyd gonna be making it seem like he's still about all this money. Whole time, nigga, we know you struggling. That money persona, that shit, we see through it now, bro. Yeah. I was dealing with a whole lot in camp. I was stuck in my bed for weeks. I was stuck in my bed for weeks. I just couldn't keep up with it. Floyd, Floyd's just so fast. Can you imagine Mike sparring these little niggas to get ready for Floyd? They gonna fuck Mike up bad, bro. He fuck around, won't make it to the fight. I'm telling you. No fast ass hands gonna break Mike up. Mike reflexes ain't there. He old as shit. My nigga Bacoli better be on that undercard. Probably not, because I think I think he loyal to Turkey. That card ain't gonna be associated with Turkey. Well, who knows? Who knows? You know what I mean? Turkey love Mike. Everybody love Mike, so maybe I don't know. I don't know. He said Mike a booty warrior. That's crazy. That nigga whole ass gonna be out. Shadow boxing and shit. Niggas gonna be recording all that. Like, bro, Mike a nasty nigga, bro. Like, you was a nasty old man, bro. Like, you was really wearing a cup with no draws. And I bet you wore that cup before, so you just had your balls sitting in that motherfucker. Like, Mike, where are your draws, bro? Why niggas be scared to tell you? It just makes me feel like a warrior. My ass is out. It's like, nigga, what? You tripping? The fuck is going on? They said, imagine Abdullah sparring Mike. Why would you want to see that? I just feel more dangerous. I just feel more dangerous when I let my nuts hang. It's like, all right, Mike. That nigga Mike needed a check so bad. He's like, what is legacy? Legacy doesn't mean anything to me. Legacy is just the word. What? That nigga needed that Jake Paul payday so bad. That nigga said, fuck legacy, man. Well, what is legacy? Legacy. What? Y'all niggas tripping. And Floyd gonna play like, I just, I'll get a 7-figure check. I'll get a 7-figure check every month. That ain't bad. Because one thing about me, I made smart investments. Yeah. I made smart investments. Mike, he's a hell of a fighter. Mike, he's a hell of a fighter. But if I could pick up another 10, 15 million, why not? Nigga, you need that 10 to 15 million. Ain't no fucking way you. Whatever, bro. That nigga Floyd was doing. I remember. Floyd. I don't know. Floyd be a little. Bill Gates. Bill Gates still make computers. He a billionaire. He still make computers. Why I can't? Nigga, the nigga making computers. You taking punches for a living. That's the difference, nigga. What are you talking about? Don't be comparing Bill Gates. Well, Bill Gates do is safe. Well, Bill Gates, when he update this motherfucking Windows, when this nigga's on, he could create Windows 89, whatever the fuck he on. That's safer than taking punches to the fucking dome, nigga. Don't compare the two. It's not the same. Floyd about to fight Jake Paul next. Why? You fuck around and would. I wouldn't doubt it. Floyd in the same boat as Mike. Them niggas need money. What's that song? I need a dollar. That's what I need. I need a dollar. That's what I need. That's exactly what he on. That nigga, he gotta pay them taxes. You would think them, what I'm saying, them people that, he been caping for heavy, you would think them niggas would have cashed him out by now. He's still struggling. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say their name, you know what I'm saying? That shit like calling out Candyman nowadays. But them people that Floyd been fucking with, if you know, you know. As much ass kissing as he been doing for them people, you would have thought them niggas cashed him out. That these motherfuckers gave this nigga a 0% interest loan or something. That nigga still out here struggling. Still got to fight to make ends meet. Crazy. Boxer sparring, they talking about this BS fight on Nightcap right now. Both Ocho and Unk are like, for what? Nigga, what else? What else? Niggas gotta keep it real, bro. Niggas is struggling. You think Mike Tyson want to get up and train, nigga? Do you really think he want to do that? Do you think Mike his old ass, the nigga that's probably a couple years away from walking around with a motherfucking life alert button, you think that nigga want to get up and hit the bag? You think that he wants to train? No, he ain't got no choice. That's all he know. It's like if a nigga been a street nigga his whole life and he never picked up any skills or anything like that. He just got out of jail for doing a bid and he don't know nothing else but the streets. What you think he gonna gravitate towards to make a living? That's all they know. As Mike ain't go to school. Mike don't got no degrees. This motherfucker was a fighter. That's all he know. That's the only way the world is gonna pay him crazy amounts of money to do anything. You know, for fighting. You want to make a couple dollars, you're gonna have to do something that's associated with boxing. If you want to make big money, not just regular money. If you want to make big money, you're gonna have to lace up. It is what it is. Floyd, the same thing. Floyd, the nigga, I mean, not making fun of him because I think I didn't really think it was funny, but some shit with the memes was funny. But like the idea of him not being able to read, that, and I clearly, based off of the audio I heard, he could read, he just lacked fluency. So like he couldn't, that's a difference. Like you could read the words, but you have trouble reading, like let me read this comment. Floyd about to fight Jake Paul next, watch. Like Floyd has to read it like piece by piece, you know what I'm saying, in order to get the sentence off. He can't flow. But you think that was because that, the reason why he has those difficulties was because boxing was his priority, not his education. That's all they know. So that's, they don't have anything else to fall back on to make money. So what do they have to do? They have to do what people are going to pay big dollars to see them do. And that's it. It is what it is. You would think off of all these investments Floyd done had that, he was set for life whole time. He's still trying to keep up. He's still trying to keep up. Ain't no way you love fighting this much. It's like there's no way. I'm telling you, Floyd gonna whoop on. Remember, I'm telling y'all right now, it is currently February 16th of 2026, 11:57 p.m. We're gonna revisit this. Floyd gonna whoop on Mike. And everybody gonna be mad at Floyd because he did that to Mike. But there's gonna be people like, oh man, Mike gonna knock Floyd. Floyd too little. Floyd too little. Shit crazy. As I seen Floyd beat up a few niggas and stop a few niggas in exhibitions. That little Asian dude, he was knocking all around the ring to boy Tension. He beat Tension little ass up and down Japan. Then he did an exhibition with one of his former fighters, and somebody that was a pro boxer stopped him. Like that's just what Floyd do. Like Floyd gonna turn up on Mike. Watch. And plus, what a lot of people don't know is they not too fond of each other. They don't like each other. Mike Tyson has said a lot of, he's made it clear in the past that he doesn't really like Floyd. He don't like him. You think Floyd don't know that? There's stories about Mike Tyson talking about he wanted to punch on Floyd and all types of shit. Ross said, I already see people saying that what if Mike catch? Bro, it's like a mouse falling for the same trap over and over and over and over again. When y'all gonna realize that y'all just keep falling for it? When y'all gonna realize that way of thinking is just a trap to continue have you support bullshit? Like, how can you sit and watch Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul? And he couldn't hit Jake Paul. Somehow, in your mind, you come to this conclusion that he might hit Floyd. The nigga couldn't hit Jake Paul, who's a fucking scrub. But somehow he gonna hit one of the best defensive fighters of all time. Crazy. Like, think about that logically and see if that makes sense in your head. Yeah, I seen Fury talking about he ain't gonna have no trainer going into this fight. I don't believe nothing that Tyson Fury says. He's a liar. He lies all the time. How many times has he claimed to retire? Always come back. How many times has he said he was not gonna, fight somebody and then he ends up fighting them? Like he lies, bro. That Tyson Fury is what you call a habitual liar. You feel what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Like, when we taking Tyson Fury for his word? The nigga's a drug cheat. He's a cheater, or he's a cheater. Like, he's a liar. So, who's gonna work his corner? He's gonna work his own corner. He's gonna pull out his own stool. He's gonna sit down. He's gonna talk to himself. He's gonna put his mouthpiece back in his mouth. He's gonna give himself water. Like, who is he gonna be wiping the fucking canvas with the towel? Like, who? Okay. John Fury's an embarrassment. Yeah, something wrong with that nigga. He need to put that coke down or something, bro. I think that family got a history of abusing cocaine. He need to get off them drugs, man. Ain't no way John Fury's still out here like ego tripping as if he's still like this high testosterone pumping ass nigga. Like, John Fury, you was a fucking journeyman, bro. I don't even know why niggas in the UK so scared of him. They say he gouged some niggas' eyes out. Like, okay. The fuck? What are we talking about? Why is niggas so scared of John Fury? All that hooting and hollering, and Philly would have got his old ass smacked. Straight up. John wanted to fight Carl Froch. Carl Froch would have beat the shit out John Fury, bro. What are we talking about? Yeah, like, the nigga can't control it, bro. That's embarrassing, bro. Like, my fucking dad, my dad a lot younger than John Fury, and already, like, come on, dog. Like, acting like that, bro. You acting like a motherfucking fool. You a 60-plus-year-old crash out. Like, when the fuck you gonna grow up, nigga? You got more years behind you than ahead of you. What are you doing? Yeah, like, he want to make you feel like he just like this. Oh, I'm a real alpha male. I'm a real nigga. You're a bum. Shut up. Living off of your son name, nigga. Ain't nobody respect the Furies till your son came around. Yeah, like, he's a weirdo, bro. And everybody be out here talking shit about Bill Haney. Motherfuckers be out here talking shit about all these black fathers, but you got this fucking goofy running around acting a motherfucking fool, and ain't nobody criticizing because he ain't black. Crazy, right? Oh, definitely, man. Why Bill Haney always gotta be in the interviews? Why Bill Haney always doing this? I ain't never heard Bill Haney go on some motherfucking tirade like that, calling out another fighter to fight, acting crazy, putting on a motherfucking show, hooting and hollering. Only the UK will let some shit like that happen, bro. Like, what are you doing? You know how quick somebody over there be like, yo, man, shut the fuck up with all that yelling, bro. Shut the fuck up, man. Give a fuck if you old, you respect it or not. Like, you tripping. They said, why isn't John Fury considered ghetto and shit? You know why? Bill Haney and Bernard Hopkins got into it. Bernard the one who made a fool of himself, though. Bernard was the one that did the pushing. Oh, let's go to the bathroom. Let's go to the bathroom. Bill Haney ain't called B-Hop out for a fight. It was the opposite. And even then, Bernard ain't really act like no fool. You ain't hear him screaming in no fucking hallways, shit echoing off the walls and shit like that. Like, no. John Fury acting like a fucking fool. Why the fuck his son ain't correcting? He tripping. Niggas be scared to say something to John Fury. What the fuck so scary about that bald, cone head looking ass nigga? Not a motherfucking thing. This nigga like an old ass Humpty Dumpty doing all this. Oh, let's fucking have it. Where are you, Carl Froch? Where are you? You know where he at. That was the funny part to me. You know where Carl Froch at. Why you ain't go see him? You see what I'm saying? You knew where he was at. Right next to, wasn't he right next to Lennox? Wasn't they doing commentary? I swear I seen like the video of John Fury doing all this yelling and shit, and then they was looking up at Carl Froch. Then looking down at John Fury, looking up at Carl Froch. They keep calling me a shit house. They keep calling me a shit house. Lennox, wasn't I going to fight you in your heyday, Lennox? Thank God you didn't. He headbutted that kid on Usyk's team in Saudi. See, I'd have choked his old ass out. Niggas would have been in trouble. I'd have caught a fucking case. Yeah, you talking about where, bro? Go walk up to Carl Froch and do some gangster shit. Go ahead. You doing all that yelling, trying to get all this attention. If you really was on timing with Carl Froch, you would have went up to him and swung on him. If you was really like that, like if you really wanted that gas, go swing on Carl Froch so he could put you on, put you, in ICU with some shit, nigga. Your old ass ain't built to be taking no punches right now. Who make this old nigga feel like he tough? He need to get off them drugs, man. Them Furies, they got real mental health, problems. Yeah, try that shit in Philly. Yeah, hell yeah, that shit won't work. See, in Philly, we don't believe that respect your elder shit. You feel me? Like, I seen old niggas get smacked by young niggas because they was acting out of line. So the way that it go over here, and I respect my elders, but you know what I mean? It is conditional. Like, you know what I mean? If you respectful, I'm gonna be respectful. You give what you get what you give. You see what I mean? So when old head, like a nigga like John Fury doing all that yelling and talking all crazy, that would have definitely rubbed a lot of motherfuckers the wrong way. And somebody would have made an example out of you for doing all that hooting and hollering. Team Usyk pieced up John Fury and left him cut. Yeah, he lucky he just left with a cut. And why you even doing all that shit? Like, you trying to fuck your son money up? Like, what are you doing? That's a father that's trying to overshine his son, who's the fighter. Like, you're not even your son trainer. Why are you there? Why you feel like you're not involved with the fight? You don't train your son because your son don't even believe in your coaching abilities. You were trash. Your son was 10 times a fighter you ever was. Why are you still feeling like you the main character in this situation? Go sit your old ass down somewhere, man. The fuck is wrong with you? Like, that shit'll get you hurt, man. But I guess, he like everybody, he feel like niggas in the UK scared of him. So they just be letting them rock. I don't get it for real. I really don't. But we got any last topics before we get up out of here, man? Let me know what it is. Let me know what it is. I did 2 lives today, man. So if you want to go look at my other live where I was talking about the Leak Shakur and Keyshawn sparring, go check it out. If you want to hear my thoughts on Virgil Ortiz being put on a restraining order by Oscar De La Hoya, check it out. You know what I'm saying? And this was one of very few moments where, I understood Oscar De La Hoya's viewpoint. I understood it. Because when you overlook that situation, when you're thinking about that shit objectively, when you think about it objectively, they're currently in the process. They have there's 2 sides to the story. Virgil feels like he's no longer, obligated to, to be a fighter under Golden Boy Promotions because Golden Boy and DAZN haven't signed the extension, and according to Virgil's contract, if you know, Golden Boy doesn't have a TV, like a network deal set in place, then he's pretty much free to go. Oscar De La Hoya is like, yo, we're in the process of extending the deal, or the deal is already done. So as far as I'm concerned, you're still my fighter, right? So when they had two opposing, you know, situations or ideologies, whatever you want to call it, the judge has to overlook both situations, could take both, you know, sides into consideration and make a judgment based off of that. So it's still in the air. But until the judge says that you're a free agent, you're still contractually his fighter. You see what I'm saying? And Oscar De La Hoya is not going to spend 6, 7, maybe even 8 figures on a fighter and just let them walk out the door without getting a return on investment. That's just like, who the fuck is going to pour all their money into a fighter and just let them walk out and leave with, you know, their pockets empty? That shit doesn't even make sense. So, you know, Oscar's trying to get this situated in court, you know what I mean, do things a legal way, and then he keeps hearing through the grapevine that Virgil Ortiz is about to finalize a deal with, you know, Boots Ennis with Matchroom Boxing without his consent, without him even knowing. So you like, hold up, we like literally in the middle of a legal battle right now, because I'm trying to prove, you trying to prove I'm not your that you're not my fighter, and I'm trying to prove that you are my fighter. So in the process of this, of us trying to figure this out, you trying to backdoor me and get a fight behind my back? No. Sit your ass down until we get this shit figured out. Are we like, when we look at it from Oscar's point of view, what if, you know, it comes out that, you know, Virgil still is in contract with Oscar? It would make Virgil look like a snake for trying to get a fight done behind his back. So I get it. Shout out to the boy Ayo Dizzy with the $5 super chat, man. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for contributing to the channel. And shout out to everybody earlier who contributed to the contributed with their super chats as well. But yeah, man, I totally understand Oscar De La Hoya's point of view. I think Virgil Ortiz and them is like they jumping the gun a little bit. I think Rick Meridian and them are like overly confident in, you know, Virgil Ortiz being a free agent. It's not determined yet. It's not determined yet, man. And with a little bit of experience that I've had in court, not in those type of court proceedings, but different court, you know, it's literally, you have to present your case. The judge has to look over both sides, and they need to come to a conclusion based off of, you know, both testimonies. They have to come to a conclusion as to, you know, the judge has to look over both sides and see who's in the right and who's in the wrong. And I'm sure there's factors that they have to take into consideration prior to making this decision. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty wrong for Virgil and his team to try to make a fight with without Oscar De La Hoya knowing, when, you know, at this current moment, you're still technically a Golden Boy fighter. Until the judge says you're a free agent, you are still a Golden Boy fighter. So I don't really understand that shit. So that's my whole take on the situation, man. Shout out to everybody that contributed to the live today, man. If y'all could go ahead and hit the like button on the way out, that'll be very much appreciated. Like I said, we're on the road to 4K. We're well into the 3,300 mark, looking to hit that 3,400 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible, man. I'll be back at y'all with another live, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to continue cooking up on what's going on in the boxing world. Until then, I hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man.